The Energy Dialogues is a series of podcasts from Energy Now that showcase companies, events, and topics that are part of our energy industry. Today's Energy Dialogue guest is Iggy Domagalski, and now your host for today's Energy Dialogue, David Yeager.
Iggy, welcome to Energy Dialogues. Glad to have you here. This is quite a story of this company you run. I think, taking one look at you, it doesn't look like you founded it in 1999.
I did not.
Yeah. So why don't we just understand where you fit into the great thing? What's your story from where you started to where you are today?
Sure, happy to tell that story.
Yeah, where are you from?
Thanks for having me here. I was born in Poland. That's where I come from.
All right.
When I was,
You'd never know by the name, but
you'd never know by the Domagalski last name.
Yeah.
But that's the homeland. And I came to Canada when I was just a little kid.
Okay.
And lived in Winnipeg most of my life.
That's all right.
So I got a business degree there and worked in corporate finance for a number of years.
What, investment banking or?
In corporate finance, investments, some stock trading, things like that.
Okay.
And that was a fun career, but at the time, the person that I was working for, he wanted to move out west and go buy some companies. And I had owned small companies throughout my life. I started my first one when I was 12.
Ooh.
So I'd always been pretty entrepreneurial, and that sounded like a pretty fun proposition. So
Okay.
that was late 2005. And we decided to go out west and start looking for some companies. And eventually we came across what was then Tundra Controls.
Oh, okay. So all right.
Yeah, so Tundra was started in 1999 by founder and still current president Dan Peet. He started it in his garage and grew it into a great little company with 14 people doing some great things. And it was a young, exciting company that me and my partner really wanted to team up with. And so we did. So we did that in early 2006, and then we went on a little bit of a buying spree. And over the last 10 years, we bought 9 or 10 companies.
Yeah, I see that.
And amalgamated them all together. And what you have today is Tundra Process Solutions. So we're a supplier and packager of really innovative process equipment. So think giant boilers, really big
Yeah, it
valves,
looks like you
motors.
build dang near anything, you know.
We can pretty much build you a plant if
Yeah.
if that's what you're looking for. And so we've been at it for quite a bit. We employ 140 people in Western Canada.
Okay.
We have 11 satellite offices throughout the U.S. and one in Colombia and one in Egypt. And Canadian Business Magazine, they have their Profit 500 listing. So last year we were number 6 fastest growing company in Canada in the over 100 million revenue category.
Are you listed?
We are not publicly listed yet, but
Okay.
it's in part of the plan.
So look, I just going down the path here. So I know about all these businesses. I've been in the oil service business all my life. Canadian Boiler Industries, like what did you see there 10 years ago?
Great question. So Tundra Controls at the time was a supplier of instrumentation, controls, and valves.
Yep.
And that decision to buy an instrument or valve is usually made by kind of a mid-level engineer, some guy in a production engineer, facilities engineer, maintenance manager, someone like that. And we wanted to get into the process earlier because we found that we were losing out a little bit on some of these bids because we just weren't in early enough, but we're having a hard time getting in earlier. So Canadian Boiler Industries had a really cool product called the Nebraska Boiler, which was a giant oil sands boiler. And those decisions, those are not $10,000 decisions.
These are the big dogs.
Yeah.
I was thinking of oil rig boilers.
Yeah,
These are the steam generators for SAGT.
Exactly. These are the
Okay.
industrial water tube. Those are the $20 million decisions.
Okay.
And so those are made by VPs, and those are made 2 years before any decisions about valves and instruments are made.
Right.
So that was the plan. The plan was to get it earlier, and the plan was to get it at a higher level. So when it came time to talk about all the other things that we were providing, that we would already have a strong relationship at a higher level with the client. And essentially it's worked pretty good for us.
Okay, so you changed the names, you opened some stores, but now I see you said you'll pretty well package anything. Were these by acquisition or design, or are you product distributors for these companies?
Great question. So we have 2 basic lines of business. We have 8 different divisions, but the way that we do business is in 2 main ways. We're either the distributor of a product, so a company in Houston doesn't want to have 100 people in Alberta, so they team up with a company like us. So we have all the service trucks, inventory, inside salespeople, outside salespeople, and then we provide those products here. And there's a lot of value in that. But we also have a whole packaging side of our business where we take all those pieces that we sell and put them into something bigger, a bigger skid, an e-house, some type of panel, and we have a So we have a 6-acre fabrication yard on the east side of Calgary. We have a 50,000 square foot manufacturing facility where we build things as well. So we're able to provide you a loose product, or we're able to put it into something bigger and more complex. And we own the intellectual property. We have patents. We have engineering teams. So,
Wow. And when you say you do something in artificial lift, there's a lot of derivatives of artificial lift. Which one are you in?
There are. So we used to be a distributor of a product called Dynapump, which is a hydraulically actuated rod lifting system.
Yep.
And we bought them in 2012. So that was a company out of California.
Okay.
We purchased them. We brought 20 jobs up into Canada, and we rebranded it SSI. And so it's a hydraulically actuated rod lift system.
Yeah.
And so we design, manufacture, and sold all out of Calgary.
Yeah, they're variable speed, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the way you do it. So is your client an EPC company, or is it the end user? Who's your client typically? Looks like you would have multiple layers of clients here.
We do have multiple layers of clients.
Midstream companies and
We deal with almost everyone. Every major oil and gas producer we would deal with.
Yeah.
Almost every midstream pipeline company we would deal with. Most of the mid-sized producers we deal with, and a bunch of the juniors as well.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, those are the folks that write the check.
Yeah.
For whatever it is that we're providing. But we certainly have a lot of interaction with the EPCs and the fabricators, and also the field level as well.
Do you do fabrication yourself?
We do. Yeah, we have a fabrication yard and a manufacturing facility.
Okay. Well, it's just you said you'd outsource some of it. You do a lot of stuff for a one-paragraph synopsis of the company. That's why I'm struggling with this. So okay, we told me the history of the company. What's your inside track, and did it help you in 15 and 16? What is your competitive advantage?
Well, we don't have any real magical growth formula. It's a bunch of different things that we do.
Okay.
And we share it quite publicly. It's not a secret. It sounds cliche, but everyone says it's about the people, but it is about the people.
Yeah.
And we won't fire up a new division unless we really have the right people to run it.
Okay.
We won't bother. But the way that we've been growing over the past few years, and the way that we'll grow again this year, is through constantly diversifying. So we're diversifying a little bit away from oil and gas into still energy related, but some other areas. We're diversifying geographically. So we're opening a second Edmonton office this month, and then next month we're opening up a Grand Prairie office. And so there's a geographic expansion, and then we also are really diversified with the products that we have. So we've recently taken on some great products. One called General Monitors, which is a fire and gas detection product.
I'm going to get to that. Just to continue going back, it says a service truck. So you've got sales and service. You've got sort of guys and techs on the ground in all these places to stand behind your product.
That's correct. I mean, gone are the days where you can just sell a widget and walk away.
No. I mean, you have to, especially as it gets more technical.
Yeah, you have to have the guys. So we have 30 outside salespeople. All of them are technical in some way, whether they went to SAIT, have an instrumentation background, or an engineer, something like that. And then we also have 40 service trucks on the road.
Holy cow!
Going around and fixing and installing.
Yeah, no. I mean, that'd be great because again, it's all fairly complex
you gotta have
stuff.
that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I'm sure you do. And so, now we know what sets you apart from the competition is you do a bunch of stuff, but it's product and service. Now, was your product base and client base sufficiently diversified that it protected you during the slump?
It wasn't our diversified client base that protected us during the slump. I mean, we're 80% exposed to oil and gas.
Okay.
And of that 80%, half is pipeline midstream, and half would be conventional and non-conventional producers.
Okay.
So we weren't really insulated. We were a little bit insulated on the pipeline side. They're less affected by the price of a barrel.
Yeah.
But where we were protected is that we continue to keep growing during tough times, and we continue to hire great people.
Okay.
So the product lines and different revenue sources keep coming our way because we're aggressive in our growth.
So basically, in terms of challenges for your clients, the compelling sales pitch, you sell them a finished working product, I guess, eh?
Absolutely.
Plug and play, just.
I would say that there's two main sales pitches. One is that one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And you can. Some clients are calling companies like ours super vendors. That's their name for it. Where it's one-stop shop, one neck to choke, one back to pat, and you don't have to deal with.
You're like
too many
NOV
folks.
with a welder, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Well,
and,
no, but I mean, you know,
and we like to think hopefully more technical. And,
well, no, you have to be, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't do sales and service. It's like in some ways you're a supply store, but you're a service company.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
And you know, our clients tell us too that I ask them all the time. I say, why do you deal with us? What do you think is our unique selling proposition?
Right.
And they say that it's industrial equipment. I mean, this stuff is you're dealing with flammable and explosive chemicals and high pressures, and things go wrong. Things break. Things don't work. That's just the nature of the industrial equipment industry. And our clients tell us that if things go wrong, there's nobody that they'd rather be in bed with.
All right.
That we really do jump to the pump. One of our core values is making it right, and we really do.
Yeah.
And so that's inbred through our entire organization. That
Well,
everyone's empowered.
if it's a production asset and it doesn't work anymore, it's not of much value, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I get that. So, okay, you wanted to talk about 3 expansion areas: Grand Prairie, fire and safety, and pressure management.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a lot of great things going on in Grand Prairie.
It's in the heart of one of the finest natural gas and liquids pool in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've always done business out there, but haven't had a real physical presence. So we're just we're starting up an office there next month. So
Okay.
nice kind of 12,000 square foot facility with,
Yeah.
with a few people in it, some sales, some service people, with some assembly capabilities and inventory. So we're really excited to get that going. So that one we'll have our face in our storefront there in about 6 weeks or so.
Okay.
So we're excited about that one.
Yeah, fire gas safety.
Yes, so we teamed up with a great company called MSA.
Yeah.
And they own
That's the original mine safety appliance. isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they bought a company called General Monitors.
Okay.
And so between General Monitors and MSA, they're the leaders in fire and gas detection.
Okay.
So we're now the official exclusive distributor for that product in Alberta, and that's a great line for us. So we brought on a bunch of really smart people to help us with that, and that'll be a huge win for us.
Is that more on greenfields, or are you going to refit?
It's both. So where there's greenfields, we'll bid and hope to be selected. But GMI or General Monitors, they are a standard in the industry. So when there's replacements to happen in any brownfield or in any facility, we'll be getting those phone calls.
Oh, are they that generic? Some of them.
It's not generic. It is just the standard.
Okay.
There's a massive install base. They've been the industry leader for 40 years.
Oh.
In Alberta.
Okay. And pressure management.
Very similar story. So we've aligned with a company called Curtis Wright, who has a product called Ferris, which is a pressure relief valve, and that again for the last 40 years that has been the market leader in pressure relief valves. So we're setting up all our shops to do all the testing and to get the products ready. And so we're lucky that we're teaming up with such a great company that has such an existing following.
These guys have been in Canada for a while. Do you have an exclusive arrangement with them, or are they preferring you over tearing up another arrangement?
These are exclusive arrangements.
So they haven't been in Canada, or
They have been with somebody else.
all right.
In both of these cases, both
Okay.
General Monitors and Ferris, they were with other companies, and they broke up for whatever reason, and we're the new suitor.
Cool. Last question. Tundra Program Acceleration Center for Entrepreneurs.
This is something that I'm really excited about. So
Yeah.
We fired this up about 9 months ago. It's a Tundra ACE program, the Acceleration Center for Entrepreneurs, and like everyone in the oil patch, we've seen our friends and family and colleagues lose jobs, and that's been a terrible thing to see. And some of them still haven't found jobs 2 years later. So we wanted to do something to give back a little bit and really get these really smart people out of their basements. We're talking about the inventors of really great technologies that haven't quite made their way to market yet. We're talking great marketers, great field engineers, great business people. And we've created a kind of Google-like space within our building with all the fancy coffee machines and everything. And we bring these people in there, put them in teams to advance these businesses to market quickly. Almost like a venture capital.
Well, that was going to be the next question. It's like you're a venture capitalist, except that you've got some plumbing, I guess.
Exactly. And so I mean, the model for venture capital is you have some folks with a bunch of money that get together.
Yeah.
They find a great inventor,
Yeah.
and then they team that person up with the management
Yeah.
team. And
Yeah.
if you do that really well, you'll fail 90% of the time and succeed 10% of the time. That's a venture cap model, and that 1 out of 10 way pays for all the other 9.
Hopefully, yeah.
multiple
That's the
times
plan,
over.
yeah.
To us, 1 out of 10 success didn't seem acceptable, so we set up a program where we just really support the heck out of these folks.
Okay.
So we teamed up with Bennett Jones to do the legal work, and Bennett Jones does all their legal for free. Teamed up with a a related company to Energy Now, Big Interactive Marketing, which Dan King ran, and they do all the marketing for these folks for free. And then we've also we provide all the engineering and designing support for free. But the most important thing that we really help them is with that channel to market. If you're a person, you're John Smith inventor in your basement, it is hard to get VP of Shell or VP of Chevron to listen to your idea about your widget. But if you have a company like Tundra that knows those folks, you have an entry.
Well, that is some
Yep.
channel to market for, and so
Absolutely.
I mean, to go back to where we started. So you're a venture capitalist.
It's a tiny part of our business that we're really excited about.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is the program. We have the option to invest in these companies, to work out royalty schemes, or at the end of the day, if we find that we're just not a good fit, we're happy to pass them on to another venture cap or private equity group that we know. Because at the end of the day, we want these great technologies coming to market to reduce emissions and make our province more competitive.
A great story. You look like you can tell it quite well.
Thank you.
In wrapping up, is there something you'd like to finish off yet, or do you think we've covered most of the bases?
I think we covered most of the bases. We've
Okay.
one thing that we've been doing here at the Global Petroleum Show, just to tie it all together, is we sponsored a program called the Sparks Energy Innovation Theater,
Okay.
which we've been working with for the last 3 days here. It is a Dragon's Den style pitch competition for
Really?
for clean tech entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And so the entrepreneurs have been pitching the entire time from 11 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon every
Yeah,
day
yeah.
in half-hour slots. And so a few of them will move on to kind of win this competition. But I think the real win is that these entrepreneurs have had a chance to meet some great people who can help them advance those technologies. And our hope that Tundra will be the partner for some of these groups to advance those technologies. and bring
Well,
them to market.
having that sort of access to market with a real operating company,
Yep.
instead of a MBA degree or operations manual, ought to give you a real competitive edge. So,
That is the plan.
congratulations! Great story. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, no sweat.
Great chatting with you.
Thank you for listening, everyone. We encourage you to share this broadcast in your social media channels. Until next time, have a great day.